You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps and standing updates from Saturday, April the 11th, 2020. Starting with an interleague matchup, the Baltimore Orioles again beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in this series, and the Orioles again scored 9 runs on the Buccos. Bailey got the win, now 2-1 on the year, and Derek Holland, one of the newest pitchers in the Pirates organization, got the loss as the starter. American League matchup between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals. Blue Jays were able to score 3 runs. The Royals could only muster 2 runs in the 6th inning and lost despite getting 8 hits as compared to the Blue Jays' 6. Ken Giles now has 4 saves as the Blue Jays closer. An AL Central matchup that featured 2 of the top teams in the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox. Michael Pineda got his first win. Gio Gonzalez now 1-1 on the season. Taylor Rogers got the save. He's been a bit streaky this season, but locks down the save here and moves the Twins closer to the top of the AL Central standings. The White Sox right now in first place, but are losing the lead with this loss. More American League Baseball. The Cleveland Indians beat the Tampa Bay Rays 5-2. Shane Bieber now even 2-2 in his decisions. Yanni Chirinos got the loss. He's now 0-2. And Brad Hand now 7 saves in 2020 with the Indians. This American League game, a battle of 2 teams toward the bottom of their divisions. The Los Angeles Angels beat the Detroit Tigers 9-4. Matt Andres got the win. He's 1-1. And Ivan Nova, his first year with the Tigers, he's now 0-2 in 2020. And No Ramirez, not the closer of the Angels, but he was able to get the save in this one. It was an eventful 9th inning for offenses. The Angels scored 3 runs in that 9th inning. Tigers were on their way to making a comeback, scored 2, but not enough to overcome the deficit. Game 2 of this series between 2 powerhouses in the American League, the New York Yankees and the Oakland Athletics, played each other, and the Yankees scored 11 runs on 15 hits and won. The Athletics, 7 runs on 11 hits. They got the loss, or they lost this game. Jonathan Holder, 1 win now for him out of the bullpen. Wendelken, 2 losses on the year out of the bullpen now, and Adam Ottavino earned the save, though not the closer of the Yankees. More American League Baseball. The Seattle Mariners beat the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox struggling this season. Marco Gonzalez got the win. Eduardo Rodriguez got the loss. He's now 1-2, and Matt McGill now with 5 saves as closer of the Mariners. The Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers, an AL West matchup. The Astros were able to beat the Rangers 5-3. Josh James got the win. Kyle Gibson got the loss. And Roberto Ozuna got the save despite giving up a run in the 9th inning. He now has 5 saves on the season. And now moving over to the National League, it's the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Marlins were able to score 2 runs in the 7th inning and earn themselves a win. Mike Soroka got the loss. Brandon Kinsler now with 5 saves as closer of the Marlins. NL Central game between the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. Cubs won 7-2, and Daniel Ponce de Leon got the loss. That was his first of the year. And McGill, now with 1 save, earned it somehow as a member of the Cubs. Got his first save, though he's not the closer. Each team got 12 hits, but Cubs were able to take advantage of opportunities and take advantage there of a Cardinals error. Phillies and Reds, National League game. Reds from the Central, Phillies from the East, and the Reds were able to win again by the score of 6-5. Robert Stevenson got the win, and Suarez got the loss. Each team scored 3 runs in the 3rd inning, but the Reds were able to walk it off in the 9th inning. One of our games of the day here on Major League Baseball's virtual network, Milwaukee Brewers, New York Mets. National League matchup featuring the same as Phillies Reds. It's the Brewers from the Central and the Mets from the East. Brewers were able to win this one 4-2 thanks to 13 hits and some offense there being taken advantage of. Alex Claudio got the win, Robert Geiselman got the loss, and Josh Hader now with 7 saves as closer of the Brewers. And despite Corey Knebel coming back from the injured list, Hader continues to be the closer of the Brewers, and he's doing well. A National League West game that featured the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. This one, a close game that the Diamondbacks were able to come out on top of. Madison Bumgarner, undefeated on decisions this year. He's 3-0 as the ace of the Diamondbacks team. Anthony Senzatella got the loss. He's 1-1, and Archie Bradley got the save. He has 4 saves now in the year. Another National League game that featured a Western team in the Dodgers against an Eastern team in the Nationals, and the Nationals were able to win this game 5-3. Both teams got 10 hits, but the Nationals were able to score 3 runs in the 6th, and that crooked number was enough to push them ahead and earn themselves a win. Aaron Sanchez got the win. He's 2-1 now. Alex Wood 1-2 as a starter in the Dodgers rotation, and Sean Doolittle now 6 saves for him as the Nationals closer. And our other game of the day here on Major League Baseball's virtual network, the Giants have beaten the Padres 8-5. The Padres were on a hot streak, a winning streak coming into the series, but the Giants have won the first 2 in the series and inch closer to the top of the division. Joey Lucchesi got the loss with the Padres, and Tony Watson doing well as the Giants closer. He has 6 saves now in the 2020 season. This is the first time he's closed for the Giants. It's because Reyes Montoya is injured, and Will Smith signed with another team in the offseason. Going to take a look at standings now. Around baseball, starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees, after beating the Athletics today, are now 9-6, top of the division. Toronto Blue Jays won today. They're 8-7, 1 full game back. So are the Orioles and the Rays. The Rays on a 3-game winning streak, most recently beating the Pirates. They're 8-7, and the Rays lost today. They're 8-7 as well. The only odd team out right now is the Boston Red Sox, who can't seem to get their act together to start this season, and now they're 3-13, 6.5 games back of the AL East. The AL Central, White Sox lost today to the Twins, and this division getting a bit more competitive. White Sox 10-4, top of the division. The Twins, who beat the White Sox 9-6, 1.5 games back of the division. The Twins are the reigning AL Central champions. The Cleveland Indians, who had won the AL Central a few years before the Twins did, they're 8-8, 3 games back of the division. The Royals 7-7, tied with the Indians for the 3rd place spot, and the Tigers, on a 5-game losing streak, have lost 9 of their last 10, and they're 2-12, 8 games back of the Central. And moving to the American League West, the Houston Astros 8-6. They're at the top of the division on a 2-game winning streak now. The Oakland Athletics lost to the New York Yankees today, and they're now 8-7, a half game back of the division lead. The Texas Rangers are 7-7, 2-game losing streak they're on. They're 1 game back of the division. The Los Angeles Angels have won 3 straight. They're now 7-8, 1.5 games back. No longer last place in the West. That belongs to the Mariners now, despite beating the Red Sox today. They're 7-9, 2 full games back of the division. But it's a race right now in the West. Wildcard standings continuing to form, and here's what they look like. Now to the National League, starting in the National League East. The Washington Nationals won today. They're 9-5 after beating the Dodgers, top of the division. The Marlins 9-7, 1 game back of the division on a 2-game winning streak in a series with the Braves. The Phillies are 8-7, have lost 3 straight, most recently to the Cincinnati Reds. They're 1.5 games back, 3rd place in the division. The Mets on a 1-game losing streak now. They're 6-8, 3 games back of the division, and the Braves have lost 2 straight now. They're 6-10, 4 games back of the NL East. To the National League Central, the Chicago Cubs have won 2 straight now, and they're 9-6 on the season. And at the top of the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers won today against the New York Mets. They're 8-6, a half game back of the division lead. The Cardinals, 1 game back, have lost 4 straight, and they're 8-7. Pittsburgh Pirates lost 2 straight now to the Orioles. They're 7-8, 2 games back of the division. And the Cincinnati Reds have won 3 straight now, most recently to the Phillies. They're 6-8, 2.5 games back. Tight race so far in the AL Central, or in the NL Central. National League Central. And to the National League West, the San Diego Padres no longer the hottest team in baseball after having their winning streak snapped by the Giants to begin this series that they're in. Padres still lead the division. They have a record of 11-4, but the Giants have accumulated their own winning streak. They've won 4 straight. They're now 10-5, 1 game back of the division. The Dodgers 8-7, 3 games back of the division after losing today. The Diamondbacks 7-9 on a 2-game winning streak. They're 7-9 in 4th place, and the Rockies 2-12 on a 3-game losing streak. Have lost 9 of their last 10, and they're 2-12, 8.5 games back of the NL West. It's a tighter race up here now ever since the Padres had their winning streak snapped, and the Giants catching fire at a relatively good time early in the year. And here are the wildcard standings in the National League, how they're forming. You can take a look at those right here. This has been your game recaps and your standing updates from Saturday, April the 11th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.